What's going on, guys? Winter Kills here, and with Dark Neostorm just around the corner, I wanted to make another video talking about some of the cards that I'm personally looking forward to in this upcoming set. We did this last with Savage Strike, then with Infinity Chasers, which I realized, wasn't really a huge set, not too many things in there that a lot of people were looking for. But I still wanted to go ahead and cover it. In the future, I might only cover the core sets unless we get a side set that's like Secret Forces level. Maybe, I don't know. But here we are talking about Dark Neostorm. This set is more exciting for me than the last two combined, pretty much, because we have tons and tons of support in here for a wide variety of things. And for me personally, because there's 3 decks that I currently play that are all getting support. Technically 4 or even 5 decks that I currently play right now that could be considered as getting support within this set, which is actually crazy. I'm not really sure if this has happened before with a set where a certain archetype, or so many archetypes in general, have gotten this many support, but I've got a ton of cards. More so than the last time. I think I did my top 6 for Savage Strike, but here I have a lot more to talk about. So one of the first cards I wanted to talk about was none other than Mermail Abyss Alacia. Now, of course, I have to include Mermail Abyss Alacia in this video for obvious reasons. Mermail is probably one of my top favorite decks of all time, probably one of the most popular decks I cover on this channel. Your guys' is obviously choice favorite for the most part. It's a really great card for the deck. Is it a combo facilitator? No, I wouldn't call it a combo facilitator. Once you summon this card, you're not going to be using its effect to be able to gain more advantage. This card is a bit different. Back in the day, Mermail had a more defensive play style when having to go first. The deck played a lot of cards like, Abyss Sphere, Abyss Lind. You had Draco Sack, Mech Equipped Engineer. A few of you might remember these days where you could make these very defensive boards that, once broken, would give you tons and tons of advantage. Same thing with Abyss Trite off of your Bahamut Shark. Obviously, when your Lind gets destroyed, you would get to, for example, summon out a Mermail monster, whether it be Lead, Pike, Megalo. Things like that for, just an example. But this card embodies that spirit of walling up. If you break my field, if you break my board, you're going to get punished. If you don't do it in the right way, I'm going to gain a ton of advantage. And this card does just that. If it's destroyed by battle or card effect, you can send a water monster from your deck to the graveyard, then target a water monster in your graveyard and special summon in defense. That's its second effect. So, for example, after resolving its first effect, which is as during your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can send a card from your hand to the graveyard, add a Mermail monster from your deck to your hand, and on top of that, it also gives 500 attack and defense to each thing it points to, and of course it has 2 bottom arrows in the bottom left and the bottom right. So it's boosting up your monsters, with their already decently high attacks for cards like Megalo and Moon Glacia and Abyss Gaios and things like that. So that's a plus in of itself. And then has the other ability, which you can basically discard a card like Infantry per se, destroy a card, add Teus to your hand for next turn, and it also allows you, if it's destroyed, you can send a card like Dragoons to the grave, reborn any water monster in your graveyard, and then, off that Dragoons you foolished or whatever, add a Prince or a Diva, and then you're starting your next turn with Teus and Diva or Prince in your hand. So it really sets you up a whole lot. It's a very good card to end on, especially if you have to go first. It does facilitate sort of like, if you don't deal with this in the right way, if you don't spin it, you don't steal it with Borload, you're going to pay for it. So it forces them to use those power cards on something as measly as Abyss Alacia. So that's really nice. A lot of people probably don't like this card, the fact that it doesn't summon a billion tokens and do a U-Link for you. I understand that, but I'll take it. I'm even more so excited for the Marincess Link coming in Rising Rampage, which is the next set, which will be in that video, I imagine. But this card, I'm really definitely looking forward to. Moving on, we have the Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwood Hand Trap. This card, it's like a maxi. It's a New Age maxi, but instead of drawing cards, you're gaining life points for each special summon. And if you don't gain any life points via its first effect, you lose half your life points after the activation, you know, during the end phase. So you want to make sure you time this at the right time. You'll be gaining tons of life points, which could help you stall and stall and stall and stall. You know, gaining like 15,000 life points against some decks trying to do a full combo. Salamangreat, Thunder Dragon, just to name a few decks that would give you tons and tons of life points if they don't stop comboing. It's really nice. I don't think it's an you know, a game-ending ham trap like No Material will be, which I didn't put No Material on this list specifically because I feel like it's just a given. Yes, it's going to be busted, but I feel like now with No Material entering the scene, this card gets overlooked a little bit. Let's not forget it's still a really solid hand trap, and it's also a water hand trap, which means you can search it off Pike, which, I mean, I guess you could start doing in Mermails now. It's an option we have to look forward to in the future, so I just want to go ahead and cover that in this video. And next, a lot of people probably was expecting this card, but anytime we get a sort of a generic card that can just search generic things, it's really, really good and can be splashed into a lot of decks. Again, this is what I was talking about earlier. This is just, you know, tons of support being released that could be fit in really just any deck, to be honest. Omni Dragon Brotor, Baby Fire Dragon, or Firewall Dragon as people are calling it, says if a monster you control is destroyed by battle or an opponent's card effect, you can special summon this card from your hand or graveyard. So it's much like Sea Archiver, but banish it when it leaves the field. If this card is special summoned, you can target one face-up monster on the field, discard a card, and if you do, add one monster with the same type and attribute but different name of the targeted monster from your deck to your hand. So if they have, like, let's say Saryuja on their field or whatever, you discard this, target Saryuja, you discard a card after you summon this, and after they've destroyed something, you can add, basically, I believe Saryuja is an Earth or Dark, Earth Dragon or Dark Dragon, or against BA, add a Dark Fiend from deck to hand, search your tutor guide out in the mirror match. So this card has a lot of interesting implications for mirror matches. You know, if you're playing against Burning Abyss, if they have like a Seer on field, you can add a Dark Fiend from deck to hand. You can't add Seer, can't add the card with the same name, but you can add Tour Guide, which is also Dark Fiend. So that opens up a lot of windows in mirror match potential, you know, for just a whole different, you know, group of decks to be able to sort of net from this card. Now, I know there was an FTK that used this card. Obviously, that's not a thing anymore because, you know, Dark Matter being banned, thankfully. But this card will have plenty of implications, I feel like. Another card, this is for you Mech Knight and Crusadia players. It's literally got Mech Knight Crusadia in the name. It's Mech Knight Crusadia Avramax. I believe they did change the name from Astrom to Avramax. Obviously, this is just generic Link 4, but it can fit really well in Mech Knights, pure Mech Knight Invoked, or even Crusadias for a very, very good turn 1 play. All it takes is 2 monsters special summoned from the extra deck. If this card was Link summoned, your opponent cannot target it with card effects. Also, your opponent's monsters cannot target other monsters for attacks. Once per battle during damage calculation, if this card battles a special summon monster, quick effect, you can have this card gain attack equal to the attack of the opponent's monster. It is battling during damage calculation only. If this Link summon card you control is sent to the graveyard by an opponent's card effect, you can shuffle 1 card on the field into the deck. So this thing does a whole lot in terms of protection. You know, once it's Link summoned, your opponent just can't target it. Your opponent's monsters cannot be targeted for attacks except this card. And then once per battle during damage calculation, it just gains the attack of whatever it's attacking. So you need non-targeting removal to get rid of this card, or some really good non-targeting effect negation, or, you know, a card like Spellbook of Fate, Trishula Dragon and the Ice Barrier, just to name a few. Endymion, I believe, Magical Mighty Master of Magic is TCG name, can out this card. But this is like a really solid Link 4. Do I think it's on the status of Borreload and Boral Sword? Will it reach those prices? I find it hard to believe so. It's just a solid generic Link 4. I don't think it replaces Borreload. I don't think it replaces Boral Sword. Will this pop up in a ton of extra decks? It's hard to tell. Will this make people want to cut their Borreloads and Boral Swords to make room for this card in their already packed extra decks? I don't know. I think this will find its place in a very select few extra decks. Because I just don't think it replaces Boral Sword or Boral Load. to be completely honest. Now, this next card, sticking with the sort of the Crusadia theme, this is Crusadia Testament. This card is really, really good. I remember seeing this card on stream a few weeks ago or months ago, and realizing like, yo, is this new Crusadia support? Because this is a really, really strong card, and it fits in well with the card we just talked about, the Avra Max. It says, first of all, it's a quick play, which is really, really nice. And then it says, activate one of these effects. For the rest of this turn, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to your activation of Crusadia monsters' effects. So, like, get rid of your hand traps. You don't worry about hand traps anymore with this. Like, this just says no. Like, it's a Call by the Grave on steroids for your Crusadia cards. I don't know what this means for Crusadia Guard Dragon decks, but it's really, really, really good for any deck that has Crusadia in it to begin with. Your opponent just can't respond for the rest of this turn. You play this at the start of your turn, all your Crusadia effects are going through. They cannot do anything about them unless they have a way to negate this. So they better have Imperial Order or Anti-Spell Fragrance or something like that. Otherwise, you have no say in what this Crusadia player is doing that turn as far as monster effects are concerned. And then the other effect is, after damage calculation, if a Crusadia Link monster destroyed an opponent's monster by battle, draw a card equal to that monster's Link rating. So if you have, per se, the Avra Max and it kills a Saryuja, you get to draw 4 freaking cards, and it is going to run over whatever it wants to because of its ability to gain the attack of whatever it's attacking. If it attacks a Borreload, it's still running it over. If it attacks a Borrelsword, it's running it over. Of course, actually it doesn't even matter because it's a Link monster, so Borrelsword wouldn't even be able to turn this to defense. So it is going to run over some of the best Link monsters in the game, and you just get to plus off of it. You know, draw 4 cards, draw 2 cards, draw 3 cards. And not to mention, you can use its other effect. If that other effect, you know, the effect to draw isn't going to be able to be applied that turn. Really, really strong card, not to be overlooked. Now, again, expanding on support for multiple decks. I didn't realize what this card was when I made that first video talking about a lot of the Dark Neostorm leaks that had come out. By the way, well, you've probably already seen it at this point, so I'm not even going to bother plugging the video. You guys have seen most of the leaks at this point. You know, with the set coming out in just a few days, sneak peek happening in like a day or two. But this is number XX Utopic Dark Infinity. This card screams train support, 100%. This is a great rank 10 to be able to throw into the archetype. It says 2+ level 10 monsters, so you can basically take obviously more than just the standard 2 level 10s that you would go into like Gustav Max or number 81 Super Dreadnought. You can just pile it up if you really wanted to go into this guy. It doesn't matter. There's no limit. 2+ level 10s. And it says if a monster is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can detach one material from this card, then target that monster, special summon it to your field in defense position. So if they kill one of your monsters, you just get it back. Like, this card screams sustainability for trains. It's a really, really powerful card. And not to mention, it's 4,000. So, like, it just screams, hey, I'm incognito train support, throw me in your extra decks. Now, one thing to mention, it is a dark monster, but I think given the effect, you know, the to take into account that there's only some cards that would not benefit from the fact that it is dark, would just be a card like Bolt Express Liner. So obviously you'd want to summon that card before you go ahead and bring this out, because Bolt Express Liner requires you to have just Earth machines on your side of the field. Pretty much other than that, I can't think of any other restrictions that would prevent you from going to this card. I know one of the cards says only like Xyz, or, you know, Xyz monsters can declare attacks. I believe it's like special or urgent schedule. I'm not entirely sure, but like that effect right there. If a monster is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can attach a material from this card, then target that monster, special summon it. So like that could be an opponent's monster too, to keep in mind. And then it says, so like let's say you're running over something with your Juggernaut Lieb. Whatever you just killed, you could just bring it back to your side of the field to do whatever the hell you want with. So that's pretty powerful if you ask me. And then its other effect, it gets better. You can target one face-up special summon monster you control, except this card gain life points to that equal to that monster's original attack. So you just target your Gustav Max, your Super Dreadnought, your Juggernaut Leap gain 4,000 life points. That's pretty darn good. You can only use each effect of number XX. Utopic Dark Infinity once per turn. So this card, low-key train support, very, very good. I'll probably be testing this card on stream and trains as well. All right, so moving on, we have a card that I'm not really looking forward to, but I feel like if you don't know about this card, I'm sort of doing you a service at this point. All right, so this card is called Mystic Mine, and like I said, I hope if you didn't know about this card, I have informed you well enough now to be prepared for this son of a bitch. So yeah, this is Mystic Mine. It is a field spell, great, another really annoying field spell that's just what we needed. It says if your opponent, and I guess it's also good that terraforming is that too, but we also have Metaverse, which actually makes this card even better because you can spring it upon your opponent during their turn, making it much more effective in doing what it does. So basically it says if your opponent controls more monsters than you do, your opponent cannot activate monster effects or declare attacks. Yeah. And then it gets worse. Not really, but if you control more monsters than your opponent does, you cannot activate a monster effects or declare attacks once per turn. During the end phase, if you control exactly the same number of monsters as your opponent, destroy this card. So let me give an example real quick. Let me give an example. Let's say I'm playing Mermails, right? And I'm playing against a deck. They go 3 set pass, okay? I open Teus Dragoons. I'm like, fantastic. Summon Teus, discard Dragoons, add Diva or whatever. Or add something, I don't know. And I summon Teus. On the summon of Teus, he flips up Metaverse and then plays this card. And now I am stuck with a Teus on my side of the field. Even if I were to normal summon Diva or, Prince, whose effects I cannot even activate, I'm pretty much stuck. Not much I can do. I can send infantry, but I can't activate infantry, so it doesn't matter. I'm literally stuck. I could and my opponent doesn't do anything to my monsters, and he just tries to deck me out. What can I do? I'm not happy about this card, but if you didn't know about it, now you know, and you've been informed. Smash like. I don't know. Smash like for letting people know about this absolute monstrosity of a card that is going to be entering the game. So excited for Mystic Mine. But anyways, this is another card that I wanted to talk about. I feel like, I don't know if a lot of people have talked about this card or not. But obviously with Super Poly coming back to 2, this card just I have to mention this card. This is World Chalice Guard Dragon Almaduke. It says 3 Link monsters is all you need to make this card. 3 Link monsters. So this could be a potential blowout side deck option against certain decks that are very Link heavy. Salamangreats, Prank Kids, I don't know, just Link heavy decks that could pile up Link monsters really fast. This could be an absolute blowout against. So 3 Link monsters. You could also use one of your own if your opponent doesn't have 3 at the time, obviously. This is just a hypothetical. I'm not saying this could be busted as a side deck option, a better, Super Poly target against some decks, but this card is really good. It says 3 Link monsters must be either fusion summoned or special summoned by attributing the above monsters you control, in which case you did not use polymerization. This card can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each. If this card battles opponent's Link monster, you can banish 1 Link monster with the same Link rating as that monster from your graveyard or field. Destroy that monster if you do inflict damage to your opponent equal to its original attack. So it does say it must be fusion summoned or special summoned by attributing the above monsters you control. So I'm assuming if you use Super Poly for the summon of this, you could use your opponent's monsters. I don't think this means you have to use 3 of your own Link monsters. I'm not entirely sure. Just wanted to bring it up as a note that this card with Super Poly could be pretty effective in the near future. Now, a couple other cards I wanted to mention, of course, is Dingirsu coming out for Orcust. This card is incredible. If it's special summoned by just using an Orcust monster you control as Link material, send an opponent's monster to the grave, does not target, and you can just spring this on your opponent during their turn by using Simple Skeleton to bring it out, and just quickly send something to the grave. And then other effect is attach one of your banished machine monsters to this card as material to either link it away to get one of your Orcust cards back to the grave to use. And then it says if a card or cards you control be destroyed by battle card effect, you can detach material instead. So it protects your whole field from destruction, which is fantastic. Orchestrated Climax, a settable counter trap that negates spell trap and monster effects that are activated while you control an Orcust Link monster. Really, really solid. And it has a secondary effect that says you can banish this card from your graveyard, add to your hand one of your Dark Machine monsters that is banished or in your deck. And you cannot special summon monsters during the turn you activate this effect except for Dark Machine monsters. Not too big of a deal. I feel like we'll only be using that effect sometimes and not all the time. It's still an amazing card. Astro Nightmare Idli. This is another hand trap coming out. This has level 9 monster control not be destroyed by card effects. If the total link rating of link monsters you control or that are on the field is 8 or more, quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card is special summon and your opponent controls more link monsters than you do, you can send all link monsters on the field to the graveyard. So this is a big sort of punch in the face to any deck that is trying to extra link. Bait out that pesky Trigate, and then you hit him with the Astro Nightmare Idli, or Idoli, I believe as it's called. I'm not entirely sure what its TCG name is. They don't really have any TCG card names or card images out yet. Obviously, the set hasn't had time to be out because it's not out. I don't really know what I'm saying, but you get the point. This card is like extra link deck should fear this card because it's all it takes is summon this card. It gets around Cerberus, Phoenix, all that stuff. Just sends it all to the graveyard, and you have this big 2100 monster on your field, level 9. So pretty darn good. And then last but not least, who could forget it? Cherubini, Ebon Angel of the Burning Abyss. I'm very, very excited for this card. Burning Abyss players should be happy about this card. Some aren't. Obviously, this card can be used as a generic link to just needing level 3 monsters in other decks than just BA. Salamangreat, one of those decks, just to name one. Monsters it points to cannot be destroyed by card effect. If this card in the field will be destroyed by battle or opponent's card effect, you can send another card you control to the graveyard instead. Really, really good. And then it just says you can send one level 3 monster from your deck to the graveyard, then target a Burning Abyss monster in the field. It gains attack and defense equal to that sent monster's attack and defense until the end of this turn. So it's a foolish burial for level 3s. Phantom Knights, Dangers, Burning Abyss monsters, Salamangreat monsters like Salamangreat Spinny. Just, again, to name a few. So this card, very, very, very powerful. Hopefully the price point isn't too high on this one because I'd love to own this card in real life and replace those gosh darn proxies in my Burning Abyss deck. But yeah, so that's been pretty much all the cards that I'm personally looking forward to in Dark Neostorm. It's going to be an incredible set. It's gonna be a banger. It's gonna be a really good set. A lot of the secret rares are very, very good. Avermax is a secret rare. Cherubini is a secret rare. No Material is a secret rare. I think some of the Valkyrie card, or one Valkyrie card is a secret rare, which I didn't really cover the Valkyries in this because I'm not really looking forward to Valkyrie stuff. But that's just me, of course. It might be different for you. And of course, I probably didn't mention, one of the cards you were looking forward to. And if I did, let me know down in the comment section below what that card might be. Also, follow me on Twitch, join Discord, follow me on Facebook and Twitter for all some great updates, stuff like that. And yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. If you guys enjoyed, as always, Winter Kill signing out. We'll see you guys in the next one.